Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and agreeing to spend a few minutes out of your day with me. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be whole, and I couldn't imagine coming to you less than whole, which is why I took so long away. But here I am again, my old self, and I'm glad to be back. Now that the Super Bowl is over and football season is finally done, and usually I go into a state of the most profound mourning at the end of football season, but not this year. And later on, I'm going to tell you why. But right now, what I want to do is just recap our year, starting with the hiring of Kellen Moore. Now, of course, we all know that Skip Bayless, excuse me, let me have my wine. Skip Bayless ran his yip talking about, he's never been a head coach before, and he's probably not going to do a good job at it because he ain't never done it before. Well, most of the head coaches that weren't head coaches before had to start somewhere, and Kellen Moore is no different. Now, yeah, we got Kellen Moore, and still had, at quarterback, that derelict car that we hated so much. But he did something that made our hearts just sparkle. He retired and wasn't going to be the quarterback of the Saints for 2025. I'm I'm sure that Dennis Allen's firing earlier in that season had a lot to do with it, and believe me, the celebration on this end was was just the same as the celebration was when they fired Dennis Allen. Well, I think that he probably retired in a fit of pique because the Saints drafted a quarterback in the 25 draft. Now, two, Carr and Kellen Moore have history. They played each other once when Moore was the quarterback of Boise State and Carr was the quarterback of Fresno State. Well, Boise State beat the brakes off of Fresno like 57-7, I do believe. And Kellen Moore didn't think very much of the quarterbacking abilities of one Derek Carr. So maybe Carr thought it would be a good idea for him to get some yonder. Saints Nation, excuse me, agreed. Next thing, our draft. Now, you never know how effective or what kind of a punch a draft is going to get to a team until those players play. And I'm telling you, I am so encouraged by some of these rookies that we have. Yes, I have notes because memory is a little bad sometimes, so I have to remind myself. The rookies, Kelvin Banks Jr. Now, he did start out having a little hard time. I remember him getting 3 penalties in a row on the same series during one game. But as the year went on, he got better. And then, of course, there's our quarterback, which I will have more to say about later. Jonas Sanker, Quincy Riley. Devin Neal did very well until he got hurt. And one free agent that really caught people's attention, Audric Estime, was wonderful the last few games. And I hope we can have an offensive line this next year worthy of his talents. After the draft, of course, we're going to have a quarterback competition. We have 3 quarterbacks on the roster in 25. We had, no, we didn't have 3 because Carr retired. What we did have was Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. And then they brought Tyler Shuck into the room. And of course, there was a quarterback competition to see who was going to win QB1 for the 25 season. And Spencer Rattler just edged, in my opinion, just edged out Tyler Shuck. Jake Haener was never a factor in this. Now, after we got the schedule, we knew that our team wasn't going to be very much this year. We knew that. And we knew we were likely to start 0-4, which we did. With our first win of the 25 season, and coincidentally, Spencer Rattler's first win as a pro, coming against the New York Giants. And how did it go after that? We lost our first 2 games by 1 score. We got drugged by Seattle by 31. Lost to Buffalo by 12. Lost to New England by 1 score. Lost to Chicago by 12. Then lost to Tampa by 20. Let's step back to that Chicago game, though. 4 turnovers. 3 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. Why did the wheels fall off of Spencer Rattler? There's tea about that. When Spencer Rattler was in college at Oklahoma, he had a good 2020 season. I think they placed in the Big 12 that year. In 2021, he was having a decent year until the Red River rivalry game, which he played poorly in and was benched at halftime. And the team was taken over by Caleb Williams, who blew it out, and Spencer Rattler never got to play as quarterback number 1 at Oklahoma again. Chicago. Do you remember what the name of their quarterback is? Chicago's quarterback is Caleb Williams, that same quarterback that took Spencer Rattler's job away from him in Oklahoma. Now, sometimes you might have a little grudge or might have a little angst about somebody that, one-upped you somehow. And I believe this was the case with Rattler. He had something to prove in this game. He needed to prove that his benching for Caleb Williams was a fluke, and he was every bit as good as Williams is. But when you get yourself in the position or in the mindset that you've got something to prove, you're going to press and press and press and take chances that you don't have no business taking, which is exactly what Rattler did. And he ended up with 4 turnovers that he was totally responsible for because he had the ball on all 4 of them. And then, after that, came the Tampa game. Chicago game, 4 quarters. Tampa, 2 quarters. 6 turnovers in 6 quarters. Of course, after such a poor showing at Chicago, Rattler was going to press and press and press against Tampa Bay to try to make a better showing than he had in Chicago. And that didn't work out either. And he was benched. Tyler Shough came in the third quarter of the Tampa game. And Rattler didn't return to the position at all during the season. Of course, the next week, with his first start against the Rams, lost by 24. Then he gets his first win on his second start versus Carolina. We had the bye, lost to Atlanta after the bye by 14. Don't it just make you mad when we lose to Atlanta out of a bye? That happened in 23-2. Then we lost to Miami by 4. Then we went on a 4-game tear against Tampa Bay, Carolina, the Jets, and the Tennessee Titans. Now, after that Carolina win, there are some Saints podcasters just going all off. Oh, we done got our quarterback after one game. One. Now, I wasn't convinced. I needed to see more. Now, during those games, our rookie showed out too. And I attribute those wins as much to the condition, injury-wise, of those other teams as to any prowess that we may have shown. Anyway, I watched Tyler Shough through those games. Now, I knew what his weaknesses were. You know, I kind of studied him for the draft last year and did pick him in the 4th round, while the Saints picked him in the 2nd. Anyway, I was watching Shough all through that. Yes, it took him a little while to get his bearings. Yes, it took him a little while to get comfortable. Okay? But, the Titans game kind of convinced me that we might have our quarterback. During the games that he had played, I had watched different aspects of his game. In one game, I might watch his ball placement. In another game, I might notice his checkdowns, his decision making, you know, whether he's going to throw the ball on time, his accuracy, and ball placement. Next game, I'd watch his reads, notice timing, and notice footwork. And pretty soon, he got to where he was playing within himself. But in this Titans game, he was playing with confidence, with competence, and with the attitude, don't worry, y'all, I got this. I nodded my approval, made the right reads, delivered the ball on time and accurately, scrambled when he needed to. He trusted what he saw, and he pulled the trigger when he saw it. But it took that Atlanta game to convince me that, yes, this needs to be the quarterback for 26. Now, while he'd been playing well and he's playing within himself, it seems like that in these last games, he was playing from a place of stillness. And by that, I mean calm in the middle of a storm, or a still place like the eye of a hurricane. He was sitting in the eye, playing in the eye. And that calm, I felt it, even across the TV screen. I haven't felt that kind of demeanor from a Saints quarterback since dare I say it, since that newly minted first ballot quarterback, Hall of Famer, they used to play for us. Yeah, usually about this time of year, I'm mourning a lost season. Yes, it was a lost season, and we knew it was going to be a lost season. I thought we'd do better than 6-11. I thought we'd do 7-10, but I'm not mourning. I'm not mourning. I'm feeling something that I haven't felt about a Saints team in quite some time. You know what that feeling is? Hope. Hope that we can get back on track and get back to the winning ways that we got spoiled to for 16 years. Now, even if they do have a good draft, I'm not expecting us to turn it around and go to the Super Bowl the way that the Patriots did this season. Last year they were 4-13, and this year they were in the Super Bowl. I don't expect that out of the Saints next season. It'd be nice, but we need to hit on every pick in the draft, and each one of those would need to be starters and first-class starters at that. But before we go on about that, it seems like we have the specter of a little nasty ghost haunting us. Rumor has it that Derek Carr is going to unretire. Now, if he does that, what does it mean for the Saints? And there's my notes. Saints still own the right to him. If he unretires, he goes back on the roster, and so does his salary. Saints don't want that. They'd rather trade him, but he has a no-trade clause in his contract. Ain't that something? Okay, since he has that no-trade clause in his contract, before he could be moved anywhere, he would have to waive that clause. A trade would be the best outcome. Any team wanting him would have to contact the Saints, work out trade compensation, which would include draft picks, or a draft picks, I say, because that depends on what the market is for him. If he is traded, his base salary goes to another team. The Saints retain those prorated bonuses that are already on the books. No new money hits the books. Okay. Worst case scenario, he refuses a trade. Refuses to waive that clause in his contract. He does that, you have to report to the team, and the Saints could release him, but they don't want to do that because they wouldn't get jack shit for him if they did. No draft picks, nothing, and they'd still be on the hook for that money. Okay. If he does come back, and they put him back on the roster, he ain't gonna do nothing but be a saboteur. He ain't gonna do nothing but be a saboteur. Because if you'll recall, I gave a great deal of insight into the character of one Derek Carr last season. I don't want him back because we have Just a little bit of breathing room and salary cap down with his ass. Go. He don't need to come back. Please. Please. No. We have, let's see, what's our cap? Total cap allocations. 364,059,350. That's first in the league. Dead cap, as of now, 90,590,412, and that is first. Now, Derek Carr needs to go to another team so we keep that money free. We got 19 free agents. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, because here are the names that I wrote down that are free agents in 26. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau, John Ridgeway, Alante Taylor, Landon Young, Dylan Raduns, Luke Fortner, Jonathan Bullard, Will Clapp, Ugo Amadi, Dante Pettis, Michael Davis, Jonah Williams, Jack Stoll, Terrell Burgess, Chris Rumpf II, and Mason Plain. Now, some of these players may not be on our roster presently, but just because they're not on the roster, if they signed a contract, that contract has to be fulfilled. Now, I don't know how it's going to go, but to tell you the honest to goodness truth, I thought that Demario, Cam, and Taysom Hill should have walked out the door with Tyrann Mathieu last year, but that didn't happen. That would free up a good bit of money if they did. Rumor also has it that Demario Davis is likely to go to another team. I don't know about that yet. We'll have to keep our ears down to the rumor mill to see what's really going on. Hope, people. We have hope. I think we have a quarterback. But I'm going to put forth a caveat with that. 25 was Shuck's rookie year. Of course, he spent 7 years in college. And yes, that 7 years, I do believe, helped him to recognize things that he should recognize when he sees them, which is what he did, especially in that Titans game. Now, us Saints fans know how we are about quarterbacks. Oh, he plays well. 1 week we extol him to heaven. He plays bad the next week we drag him to hell. Let's not do that, people. Let him have a chance. Give him a chance. Give him at least the chance that Rattler got. And like Drew Brees says, 50 games, 50 starts is how you tell what you got in a quarterback. Rattler hadn't had 50 starts. Shuck hadn't had 50 starts yet either. But we're going to see. We have hope, Saints Nation. Hope! It's about time. So, I've been digging in college prospects for the draft. And yes, I'm going to try it again this year and see if I can hit on at least one, maybe more. Be nice. Anyway, I will say again, thank you for your patience in waiting for me to return. Thank you so much. And please hit the like button. before you leave. And like I always say, no matter how it goes, no matter how it turns out, don't get too mad and don't get too glad. Who dat?